India and Pakistan are about to go to war. Do you buy or sell? And it is hard to discuss that without being sensitive about that topic, because it is a matter of grave concern, not just in the geopolitical sense, but also in the sense of the fact that there are so many lives being lost. I am nowhere close to be qualified at all to comment on this issue. Neither am I a qualified financial analyst, but it still does not stop me doing my day-to-day activities. And such an event at the international level is certainly a point that is worth discussing in all terms, including how we invest our money. So let's get started with another episode of Finfluenced, where we talk about how we got Finfluenced by the Finfluencers, and this time the Finfluencer is AI. तो जैसे कि हम यहाँ देख सकते हैं कि our AI portfolio so far since 1st of April 2025, when we asked AI to invest in some stocks 1 lakh rupees for their financial year 2025. They selected some stocks for us, and that has been so far the worst performing across all the indexes that we are comparing it with, and Parag Parikh Mutual Fund as well, Parag Parikh Flexi Cap Fund. Let's examine why. So इसमें 2-3 mistakes हुए. Mistakes ये हुई कि I correctly started with being 20% in the cash position. However, I did not have the confidence to buy during this dip. I did start deploying somewhere around here, but then Nifty actually recovered better than the small cap and mid cap indexes, जिसके वजह से I could not get a lot of gains. So while Nifty itself is 5% up, my portfolio is just about 1% up, which is the worst. That is ranked 5 out of 5 because we were in cash. I hope that changes because last week I deployed all the rest of the cash. Although last week में थोड़ा सा uncertainty था कि what will be the response of India for the Pahalgam attack, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But then a couple of companies came up with good results. BAJFINANCE came up with decent results, but indicated a stock split and a bonus. तो मैंने जो remaining 9,000 rupees the, you can refer back to the last video, have invested that in BAJFINANCE, and now we are fully deployed with small amount of cash, 400-500 rupees remaining. That will help us cover certain charges, trade charges that may be implied when we rebalance our portfolio. Speaking of rebalancing, should we rebalance this portfolio during this kind of a war-like situation? So let's break it down first. It is yet not a war-like situation. Yes, India is preparing for it. Yes, states have been instructed to conduct mock drills. Yes, there is massive military activity happening across the border. But India has strategically only been targeting terrorist establishments. So if Pakistan is matured enough to understand that, then hopefully nothing goes wrong. But here's a pattern that I've identified. Karachi ka jo stock exchange, which is Pakistan Stock Exchange, this is the Karachi 100 index. It has broken down from a very long-term support, although slightly recovering. Magar is technically a strong sell. When did a similar situation last time happen in India versus Pakistan? Was in 1999 during the Kargil War. So let's go to Nifty. Let's go to monthly chart. So here is 1999, and just have a look, just beautifully. The entire stock market before the war started was very uncertain, going up, going down, going up, going down, and going actually massively down in a net sense. Because उस टाइम पे पता नहीं था कि will there be a war, what will be its repercussions, and all of those. उस टाइम पे तो clickbait भी नहीं कह सकते because newspaper में आता था, but I mean, I'm speaking as if I remember this, but nahin, this is all case study that I've done. So I was not born at that time, or I was just about born at that time. मगर अगर weekly chart पे देखें तो और अच्छे से समझ आएगा कि it's a matter of 2 months. Right, a few weeks before the war, March से लेके May तक, the market fell down drastically. In fact, it fell down by around 13-14%. जो कि हमारा recent Nifty का fall was 15%, right? So market fell down by quite a lot. But after the war started, the outcome was very easy to predict. That Pakistan has a lot to lose, but India has nothing to lose. So business as usual. Therefore, the stock, as you can clearly see, the stock market in fact rallied from May to July by 41%. And just not that, uske baad it continued to rally up to its peak before, I believe that was the .com bubble. Let's go into aistudio.google.com. I will ask you a very simple question. Recently, India and Pakistan. So देखो, मैंने इसको बोला कि recently India and Pakistan have had military activity between them. Last night, India launched missiles onto 9 terrorist establishments in Pakistan called Operation Sindoor. This may or may not escalate depending on Pakistan's reaction. Tell me what kind of investment strategies may work during these situations in case it escalates, and what stocks may do well in India. So AI को लग रहा है कि Operation Sindoor is actually a fictional event for some reason. So I will edit and rerun my prompt. This is a very serious development with potential significant market implications. Operation Sindoor, as I've described, taken place last night. High degree of uncertainty. Market's reaction will depend heavily on Pakistan's response. ठीक है. As your analyst, my immediate focus is to shift to capital preservation and risk mitigation, while also considering tactical opportunities if certain scenarios unfold. Here's how we should think about the investment strategies. Flight to safety and capital preservation. So increase cash holdings, gold, short-term high-quality debt. ये सब लेना चाहिए. Okay, basically कह रहा है कि भाई equities से निकल जाओ. Defensive sectors हो जाएंगे तुम्हारे FMCG, pharmaceutical and utilities. Get companies which have low debt and strong cash flow, dominant market positions. Proven management and better equipped to navigate severe economic shocks. And volatility management करना है. कोई leverage position नहीं लेनी है. What about the stocks and sectors that might perform relatively well or offer resilience in an escalating scenario? So defense sector of course, जिसके अंदर तुम्हारा HAL, BEL, BDL, Mazgaon Dock, Cochin Shipyard आ जाएंगे. Pharmaceuticals, तो Sun Pharma, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Divi's Labs and hospital chains. अच्छा, so pharmaceuticals and healthcare, तो हमारे पास नारायण हृदयालय है. It's speculation. This is all speculation. FMCG में तुम्हारा HUL, ITC, Nestle, Britannia, ये सब आएगा. Britannia was recently pushed out of the Nifty 50 by Zomato, but I believe that's not going to be the case for long. Let's see. IT services, क्योंकि mainly they are export driven, so and offices driven, तो उनमें दिक्कत नहीं आनी चाहिए. And gold of course. So war के time gold is your hedge. लेकिन which companies actually deal with a lot of gold, that is gold finance companies and jewelers. So वो सारे आ सकते हैं. तो एक तो गोल्ड ETFs ले सकते हैं हम लोग. SGBs सेकेंडरी मार्केट से खरीदा जा सकता है, मगर मुथूट फाइनेंस, मन्नापुरम फाइनेंस, चोलामंडलम फाइनेंस भी है. आई बिलीव, आई थिंक चोलामंडलम इज जस्ट अबाउट माइक्रो फाइनेंसिंग इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन. तो उसमें गोल्ड का है नहीं. तो मन्नापुरम एंड मुथूट आर बेसिकली द लीडिंग गोल्ड फाइनेंसर्स. तो उनको ले सकते हैं. एंड आई वुड ऐड कि तुम्हारा टाइटन एंड सेनको शुड ऑल्सो डू वेल. इम्पैक्ट ऑन करंट होल्डिंग्स, तो मेरा कंजम्पशन थीम के बेसिस पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा वो था, एलोकेशन था. तो नाउ दिस थीम इज़ एक्चुअली इन सिग्निफिकेंट प्रेशर if the war escalates, because discretionary spending would not happen if there's a blackout or drills and it was the consumption theme that also led to the finance theme. So agar discretionary items ka demand fall ho gaya, so why would people go for any kind of EMIs, because they're not buying any big ticket items, right? Yeah, they won't use a lot of credit for that matter. Tourism will also be actually very badly hit because people will stop traveling. And of course, this entire Pahalgam attack that did happen on tourists, so that also introduces certain fears, because one of the largest tourist destinations is in the north of India. And similarly, auto is also discretionary spending. Bajaj Holdings is again tied a lot with Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Auto. They're all into financing and discretionary. HDFCBANK has had good results. Banks will actually be somewhat resilient to the market. In fact, while people exit a lot of equity markets during unforeseen situations, they will all cash out. And where will the cash reside? The cash will reside in the banks. Now, yes, they will not take a lot of loans, and that is why the net interest margin of the banks will go down. Banks do not have a fundamental trigger of failure, for that matter. Hospital play में NH is actually a defensive, जैसा ऊपर उसने बताया. So this is good. And NUVAMA is again in the wealth management space, works on transaction fees. And if AUM goes down, if clients withdraw, then NUVAMA should also not perform well. ठीक है? So this is something. तो ये था हमारा AI summary, but I will do some more research and see and also closely monitor the war situation. And let's see how we can further optimize. Maybe if we have to take some profit and be in some amount of cash, then we'll do that for some time. We will reevaluate our portfolio maybe in the next few weeks. And if you really want to look at that, click on the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.